Hello YouTube, we're going to play another rapid game against DOCTORYY, rated 1945. We're playing with the black pieces. Let's see how we do. Alright, so he opens with e4, and turn I'm going to respond with the Caro-Kann, c6 and d5. So knight f3 means that he's probably going to play the knight c3 variation after I play d5. That is kind of tricky for black, but I think I can play takes and bishop g4. But instead he goes for sort of Panov Botvinnik attack. Yeah. So I'm just going to develop my pieces normally. Get my knight to c6, my bishop to f5 or g4, and play e6. So with knight c6, he might play bishop b5. That's usually what white wants the bishop to be. I notice he hasn't played c4 yet. c4 really means that it's the Panov Botvinnik. So this is not the Panov Botvinnik then. Because he played his knight to c3. So this is kind of like a weird opening. I'm not really sure what to call it. Right, so he wants to stop my bishop from going to b4. And yeah, pretty much it's figuring out how to best develop my pieces. I play bishop to d6. It's offering the trade of bishops. This is my best bishop because it protects my dark squares since all my pawns are on light squares. So this is a kind of an important move right now. Do I play bishop to d6 or bishop to e7, protecting my bishop from trading? I'm not that sure. I mean, it'd be wise to contest the bishop since it has control over the center. So I'll just do that for ease and do not think so much on move 8. That is not something that is wise. Alright, so I'm going to pre-move queen takes d6. He probably won't take because that gets my queen to a better square, unless he wants to respond with knight to b5. Alright, so queen d2 protects the bishop and prepares long castles. I think I'm going to play a6 because I don't like him playing a knight to b5. And then I'm just going to bring my queen to c7. Again, for a similar reason, I do not want to take on f4 because he's going to activate his queen. Okay, so he gets his knight to the center. It's a pretty standard move. So if I take his bishop, he's going to take with the knight. I mean, I don't have that much of a choice. So once he takes with the knight, I'm thinking to take here with the bishop. If he takes with the pawn, I play knight to d7. So this is kind of like a critical moment here. Do I change the pawn structure or do I keep the tension? Whenever there can be a change in the pawn structure is always critical. You can't just play it without thinking about the consequences. This seems interesting. Although he might take, and then my knight is a bit misplaced. Actually, I might just castle short. Yeah. So I decided to keep the tension here. That can never be a bad move to keep the tension. If I get his pawn to e5, that could be somewhat good for him. So yeah, we're gonna go over the game and see what would have happened if I had taken on e5. Surely that'll be a much different game than what this would be. I also can move my knight to this square. It is free. It's a free square. And if white didn't have a pawn on f2, this would be called a knight outpost. But since he can play f3, it is not really a stable home. It's more like a motel or a hotel. It's a temporary home for the knights. For your knights, you're usually looking for a permanent home in a nice neighborhood. Okay, so I'm just gonna sort of semi-develop my queen and connect my rooks. So this signifies that I have completed development. And then I'll play rook ac8 and put pressure indirectly on the pawn on c2. I am threatening the knight now, so he has to defend the knight or move it. He can play knight back to f3 because he has enough defenders. Although there may be a tactic. He also can play knight takes c6. In which case I can take with the queen to not ruin my pawn structure. I like my pawn structure right now. It gives me an open c file. I don't have that many. I only have one weak pawn, which is this pawn, but he can't really attack it right now, so it is not weak. Okay, so I'm going to take with the queen, and then if he takes my bishop, I'm going to take with the queen as well. So my plan is to possibly double rooks on the c file, and then go for a minority attack with b5, a5, b4. Alright, so let's get my rook. Actually, in this case, it would be better to play rook f to c8, so I can get this rook to b8. So while I decide which rook I'm going to use, I'm going to play b5. So again, I'm going to play a5 and b4. Still keeping the tension between these two bishops. I don't want his queen to go to f4 because that will give him an active queen. And active queens are not nice. I also have to keep a lookout if there's any tactics once I play knight to e4. If that will just outright win the game. Because it is forcing the queen to move. So if I have like another reason to play that move, then that'll be very powerful. Okay, so he's sort of anticipating that I'm going to play a5 and b4, in which case he's going to take with the c pawn, attacking my queen. So I probably have to move my queen before I can play b4. But for now, there's no harm in sort of, threatening or, preparing to play b4. There's no harm in doing so. Okay, so I'm just gonna take, because I think this tension has been going on for long enough. Alright, so now he has weakened his pawns, but he has counterplay on the f-file. Surely there are not enough pieces to start a mating attack. But nevertheless, I might keep a rook here protecting the king. I might. This does give up some of my play on the queen side. Alright. I'm just gonna stick with my original ideas. Because even though my king is weak, I can still protect it through this rank. Something like queen to d7. Okay, so he's threatening to take my knight with his rook. So I have to either play h6 or move the king. Do I play h6? Knight e4 also can respond with queen to f4. Then I'll play queen to c7. That seems like a lot of tempo. Does he have queen to e7? That is the question. I don't think so. I'll just play my rook up. So I like this move because it activates my knight, and I have a lot of good ideas. So, like I allude to earlier, if this pawn is not on f2, this is an outpost. So now I have a knight outpost. This, of course, is explained in my system by Aaron Nimzovich. He's the one that coined the term a knight outpost. So it's just like a nice home for the knight, protected by a pawn. So I like my position. It's a knight in the center. It can't be kicked away by any pawns. And I'm attacking his queen. And preventing any tactic that he had. So overall, I like how I played this. So I'm anticipating that he'll play queen to f4. Then I'll play queen to c7. And then in the future, I will go ahead with my original plan, which is to play b4. Sometimes you have to react to what your opponent is doing, not just blindly going into your plans, because white is playing chess also, and so he has his own plans. Okay, so here I'm protecting f7 and proposing a queen trade, which I'm sure he does not want, but otherwise there's not really a lot of good squares that the queen can go to. So I'm making the queen kind of passive here by making it move to a less than perfect square, like e3. Okay, so I'm just gonna move my queen somewhere here, somewhere. This is a nice square for the queen. Not only does it keep an eye on the a3 square pawn, so after b4, I'm attacking a3, but also has the possibility of bringing it to g5. So he's trying to be active here. He is not really threatening anything. He does want to play the knight to d3, however, but I'm not that scared of it. Okay, so while he goes for this plan of bringing the knight to d3 and to e5, I'm just gonna open the queen side. So if he's knight d3, he's already bidding a pawn on c3. Okay, that's a good move. I think first I might take here. That's a good move because I can't take that pawn. So I'll take here, giving him a weak pawn, and then we'll see. That's actually a pretty good move if he plays pawn to c4 to c5. He has a clamp on the d6 square. So what to do? Maybe I can play queen to b7. Seems kind of odd. Because after pawn to c5, where is this queen going? I'll try it. I mean, yeah, I'll try it. Let's think. This might not be the best move. So this is also another critical position. Like what to do in this move. So I was kind of not sure what to do in this move, and the move 23. So I play queen to b7 because it's not losing, and yeah, it sort of protects against white's threats. Although, okay, so he takes. Okay, that's good for me. He could have definitely had better shots at winning if he played pawn to c5. That was the move that I was most worried about. But now we have an equal pawn structure. I have a slightly better pawn structure. And then we're just trading rooks. Although I can't really trade that many pieces because he does have pressure on my d-pawn. Alright. This move is threatening knight takes d5. Very scary. Hold up. What about rook to c3? Is queen to e2. I don't think I have anything there. Do I? I don't think I have anything there. It was close. It was definitely close. For now, I'll just put my rook here. So we're both down to a minute and a half. I need to play h6 or g6. One of those moves I need to play. I like g6. Maybe not. We'll see. Yeah, so I'm protecting my knight. I'm preventing him from taking the pawn and then taking my knight. And my next move, because if I move my knight, well, I can move it to d6 or f6, but actually that kind of like is a good move. I like that. Do I move my knight to d6 or f6? I like d6 because it has other prospects, you know, like on c4, f5. Those are all weak squares. Yeah, so I'm trading rooks, which I am very happy for. I am so happy to trade rooks. So very happy. Really. I thought this would be good for black. If I could get my queen to this square. Well, I'll just give up 2 pawns for nothing. So I have to play on. Thankfully, this is not that easy to defend. He has my h3. Then I'll play queen to e2. I just forgot he is attacking that pawn. What in the world? I have to play like this now. Hopefully this works. Hopefully. I am, like, this is my only shot. As you can see, I sacrificed the piece. Hopefully my tactics aren't that bad. Oh, I messed up. Yeah, it's pretty much it's over now. Okay, so let's go over the game now. Okay, so this is pretty normal. Playing knight c3 isn't the most optimal way to play. Yeah, taking the pawn would have been much different, but that's not really the critical part. The critical actually was, what's it called? Okay, so this was a critical, one of the critical positions. So the critical move here was if taking here was good, and he takes back, sort of taking here again. So let's see how the game would have continued. Okay, so here we have a pretty equal endgame, and this is quite fine for black. One of his ideas is to play f6 now. So whenever the pawns get over here, much like in the French defense, you have moves like f6 to undermine it. So this is how the game would have continued. So that was just a matter of preference in the end. Yeah, so I have my knight. I have a knight outpost. Computer wants to sacrifice already. I didn't even see that this was an option. He's gonna attack my pawn. Yeah, so I just moved it right away to the center. Thankfully, he didn't see it. Yeah, so the rook c7 or queen c7, I'm pretty sure it's the same. And yeah, he should have yeah, trading queens was his best option. Alright, yeah, queen b7 sort of prevents that idea that he had of knight f4. So in retrospect, it was better to put the queen on b7. Surprisingly, I didn't see this idea of oh, I mean, yeah, like he's not threatening knight takes. He's not threatening knight takes at this point. Now he is. And I should put the queen. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I knew he messed up by taking that. So this was a position where I wasn't sure what to do. Let's see. Yeah, right here. So I was kind of unsure. Because it was like it's pretty equal, and all the moves seem to be the same. I just gotta move a queen to somewhere that protects the D pawn. It is indeed under attack, and the computer thinks that queen move is best. Queen d8, obviously being the computer's first choice. Rook c3. This was another critical moment where I could have won the game, basically. And here, just attacking the pawn. Yeah, this is much better. So now I move his pieces. He moved his pieces to less than perfect places, and he's not really threatening checkmate. So, but it's not easy to win by any means. Okay, so I have a substantial advantage here. I messed up. I shouldn't have played rook e8. I should have played queen to b3. Taking that pawn. Yeah. So we have a similar pawn structure, but he has a slightly weaker pawn structure. So this is how I can exploit it. My pieces are more active. So I've messed up. I let him take this pawn. I didn't really see that in the game. Yeah, here another mistake. I was just concerned about my load time that I had to attack the king. I felt like I had to attack the king, so I should have taken on a3. Then the game would have continued. Most likely a draw. Yeah, here I just got caught up on my plans. I didn't realize that if I just play solid here, then I can draw the game, but here in the heat of the moment, I played queen e2. If I had had more time, I probably would have seen queen takes f2. Queen takes f2, in which case he plays queen to c4, and he's up 2 pawns in a queen and rook endgame. And here I just blundered. So overall, a pretty interesting game. Yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.